Assalamu alaikum. For today, we'll start with the digestive system. So, at the beginning of this lecture, we will start with the structure of the digestive system. So, the structure of the digestive system, we will take an overview of the structure, starting from the oral cavity. Then we will discuss also the esophagus and the passage of food through the esophagus. Then it will go to the stomach. We will discuss and we will see the structure of the stomach, then the small intestine, large intestine, the accessory organs. From the accessory organs that is there in the digestive system, we have the salivary gland, we have the teeth, we have the pancreas, we have the liver and the gallbladder, and each one of them it has its own function. So we study the structure and the function of those organs. So let us begin with the structure of the digestive system. We have to name the organs of the alimentary canals, name the accessory digestive organs, the salivary gland, teeth, pancreas, liver, and gallbladder, and also identify the overall processes of the digestion, the digestive system, as digestion and absorption of food stuff. Because in the process or in the digestive system, there is the ingestion, and then the digestion and absorption also is there. And then the last thing, it is the defecation. In the digestive system, or what we call it, the alimentary tract. The alimentary tract, it is the other name of the digestive channel or the digestive pathway. So the gastrointestinal or alimentary canal is a mucosal tube. So it is a tube, and that tube is from a mucosal tube. In the end, it starts from the mouth and end by the anus. So it is a tube, a long tube in our body that starts from the mouth. So the inlet of the canal or the digestive system, it is starting from the mouth and ending with the rectum. So in between, there is the colon or the intestine. It is around 9 meters through the digestive system. So this is the structure of the main organs of the digestive system. So the digestive system, in addition to the main channels, are a number of accessory organs. So the channel, as we said, it is starting from the mouth, then esophagus, stomach, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, then the large intestine. Large intestine, it is the ascending, the transfer colon, descending colon, then the sigmoid, then it will end with the rectum. And beside that one, there is a process of digestion, there is a process of a pathway without any mechanical or chemical processes within the digestion. There are some mechanical digestion or destruction of the food. There are some chemical digestion which occur inside the digestive tract, and then there is a way of absorption. Mostly absorption, it is happening in the small intestine, and the large intestine, mostly it is the absorption of water. Then then excretion or of feces. So from the accessory gland, we have the salivary gland, which is present there in our mouth, and also the teeth, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. All of them are from the accessory glands. So the salivary gland are present in the mouth. Also the teeth are there to cut the food to small pieces. Then we have the liver, as we said before, that the liver is having many functions within after absorption of the food in order to prepare it for the metabolism. And also the gallbladder, it has a function by the excreted bile, which is excreted also by the liver, and it is accumulated in the gallbladder. Then it is excreted in the duodenum for the help in digestion of fat. The pancreas, it has also a chemical function of digestion. The GI tract function, from the function of it, the first one, which is ingestion. What's the meaning of ingestion? What we mean by ingest? Eating or taking in. Then the second one, which is digestion. So there is ingestion, digestion, absorption, and excretion. So there are four main function of the gastrointestinal tract: ingestion, digestion, absorption, and excretion. And each function, there are special organs for the processing of that function. So starting with the beginning of, or the inlet of the digestive system, it is start from the oral cavity. In the oral cavity, what we have, what are the organs in the oral cavity that will help in the process of ingestion and in the process of digestion, by the way? Teeth are there. For the teeth, what are the function of the teeth? So, breaking down by mechanical cutting of the food. What other thing that we have in our mouth and it will help in digestion? Sorry? Salivary gland. For the salivary gland, what's the function of the saliva? It will moisten the food and what does it have also? Enzyme. Those enzymes, it will help in the process of what? The first digestion, it is happened in mouth for what? If you remember, if you have this, for carbohydrate. So the first digestion, it is happened in the mouth for the carbohydrate. So if you took a piece of bread and start chewing it, if you chew it thoroughly, at the end, what did you feel? Yes. So you feel the sweetness of that. Why? Because some of the carbohydrate of that bread, it is changed by the salivary enzyme to sugar. Start to be breakdown of it to sugar. So always, for our health and for best health, it is better to chew properly when we are chewing our food. By that, it will help us and it will help the stomach in order to not to have any gastric problems, and also it will help in easy absorption. And by that we avoid taking too much food which is not needed, because if we are just swallowing, those who are feeling happy with those soft food and just they are swallowing it without chewing it properly, in this case they are eating too much, and by that the obesity and all of those things it will start. So to avoid it, it's better to chew the food properly. Chewing the food properly, you will feel also that your stomach within a short period of time you will feel the fullness of the stomach. So you will stop eating. You will take only your need of food. The tongue is there, and the tongue, it is for movement of food. It will help in the swallowing, it will help in moving the food in order to mix it and chew it inside the mouth. The salivary gland, there are enzymes in the salivary gland and salivary secretion that it will be mixed with the food in order to moisten it, and it will be easily also swallowed. So it will be easily swallowed. The salivary gland, we have the pituitary gland here and the sublingual salivary gland. We will come to them. Then here we have the pharynx. After that, the food, it will go to the esophagus. So the esophagus from the pharynx to it will take the food. It is just a pathway of food from the pharynx to the stomach. So in the esophagus, is there any digestion process happened in the esophagus? So no, the digestive processes will happen in the esophagus. It is just a pathway from the mouth until the food is going toward the stomach. Then it will go to the stomach. Small intestine also it has 3. Then the large intestine until it reaches to the anus. So from those are the accessory gland, the accessory organs. The liver, which is coming toward the right side, and under the liver we have the gallbladder that have the excretion from the liver, and the salt, the gall or the bile salt is accumulated there, and it will be excreted in the duodenum in order to help in the digestion of fat. And here, see, here the pancreas is there, which is beneath the stomach. So usually it is not apparent from the anterior posterior view. So this is the pancreas, as we said. So the ingestion through the first part of the digestive tract, then a propulsion or swallowing, and peristalsis. That peristalsis movement, it will help in the movement of the food in one direction by the movement of the smooth muscles, which is there in the wall of the gastrointestinal tract. So from the function we have swallowing, And we have the mechanical digestion, chewing, churning, and segmentation. Chewing, churning, and segmentation. By the way, just okay. So ingestion, it will be through the mouth and the esophagus. So swallowing will be there after ingestion, and the process of digestion here, which is the mechanical digestion by the two teeth here in the upper or in the first part of the digestive system in the mouth, chewing, then churning, then segmentation and swallowing. Which is happened in the upper part of the digestive system, in the mouth and in the stomach. Then there is a chemical digestion, which the chemical digestion, it is happened in the stomach and in the first part of the small intestine, in the duodenum. Mostly it is happening there. From the second part of the intestine to the end of the intestine, it is mostly for absorption. So absorption happened there. And there is a network of capillaries which is there in the wall of the small intestine that it will help in the process of absorption. In the large intestine, mostly it is absorption of water. So it will make the stool, form the stool, and it will help in passing of that stool. The chemical reaction here in the small intestine, it is through the enzymes and through the secretion of the pancreatic enzyme and through the secretion of the bile salt from the gallbladder. In the stomach, it is the excretion of some enzyme and excretion of the HCl that will help in the process of digestion in the stomach. The absorption in the small intestine, it is happened by two ways. One is directly through the blood vessels, and the other through the lymphatic. Mostly it is through the lymphatic. Then the lymphatic, it will be, as if you remember in the previous chapter, when we discussed the lymphatic, that the lymphatic, it will go to lymph node, and in the lymph node, filtration will happen there, and also it is like a gate. It will prevent any harmful substance to enter to the blood. So it will be processed and it will be filtered there in order to prevent any harmful material to go to our blood. So it is by active and passive transport, both of them are happening, the active and passive transportation. Then the last thing, it is the defecation and excretion of the end product of digestion, which is the fibers and all the non-digestible thing. It will be formulated, water will be absorbed in the intestine from them, and then they will be excreted outside. If we are coming to the oral cavity, also in the oral cavity we have the epiglottis. If you remember the epiglottis, we also talk about it in the respiratory system. What is the function of the epiglottis?
Avoid the food to go the airway.
You mean prevent the food from going to the airway. So it will prevent the food from going to the airway while we are swallowing. So what it will do, how it will prevent that? By closing the airway while you are swallowing. So when you swallow, it will close the airway. And here, what is this? What we call that? There are two parts. This one and this one. This is the palate. We have there are two types of the palate: hard palate and soft palate, which is in between, which separate the mouth from the nose. So we have the hard palate and the soft palate. So this is definitely, we mentioned that this is the hard palate and this is the soft palate. And this is the uvula. And here, what's that? Those are the tonsils. Is the tonsil related to the digestive system? So it is related to which system? To which system? Lymphatic. Yes. So it is from the lymphatic glands. So the tonsils are from the lymphatic gland. They are present in the throat at each side. There are the tonsils. And here from outside in the mouth we have the lips, the upper and lower lips, and vestibule, which is in between the lips and the teeth and the gum. We call it the vestibules. This is the oral cavity, and the tongue, which is a muscular organs. This is the lingula, we call it the frenulum, the binding between the tongue and the lower part of the, or with the lower jaw. So we call it the frenulum, this part. This is the uvula. Those are the tonsils, both sides, tongue and the teeth. And this is the vestibules in between the lips and the gum and the teeth. The hard palate, so this part, it is the hard palate up to this area. Then here, the soft palate. This part is the soft palate. The uvula, as we said, and those are, we call them the palatine tonsils. Palatine tonsils. and this is the tongue. Then we have this part, it is the oropharynx, because the pharynx, we said that it has 3 parts. One of them is the oropharynx. The above one, what we call it? The one which is above the oropharynx, what does it called? What we call it? Huh? Oropharynx. What is above the mouth? What we have? Nose. So it is nasopharynx. Then what is down? Pharynx is there. So oropharynx, nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. So in the oral cavity, the function, so the food is masticated and chewed there by the teeth. So the function of the teeth is to chew the food, mixed, and it will be mixed by the tongue. When we take the food, we will cut it by our teeth and mix it with the saliva and the food itself with by the tongue. So it will be mixed with saliva. In saliva, we have the amylase. So we have salivary amylase. This enzyme, it is secreted by the salivary gland, and also there is pancreatic amylase. Because of that, salivary amylase. Salivary amylase is from the salivary gland. Pancreatic amylase, you will see it. We will study it later. It is coming from the pancreas. So this enzyme is secreted from the same enzyme. It is secreted from 2 ways, from the salivary gland and from the pancreas. So it will start the digestion. It digests what? Just safe, mention it at the beginning of the session. The carbohydrate. So it will help in digestion of the carbohydrate, breaking down of the carbohydrate. So the first digestion, it will start in the mouth by the salivary amylase to break down the carbohydrate to simple carbohydrate or simple sugars. So start. Then parts, it is a part, the tongue itself, it is a part of swallowing. When you movement of the tongue itself, also when it is moved backward, it will help in the swallowing. It will help by or dilatation of the backward of the mouth, and it will help in the process of swallowing. As we said, this is the nasopharynx here, the oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx, and then we have the esophagus in the pharynx. In the pharynx, the wall contains 2 layers of skeletal muscles. So skeletal muscles are there. Longitudinal, which is the inner layer, it is longitudinal layer, longitudinal طولي يعني. And circular, which is come as a circle, which is the outer layer, to keep it as a tube. So we have 2 layers of muscles. One is longitudinal and the other is circular layer. Altering the contraction of which will lead to propels of food through the pharynx. So the contraction of it and alteration of contraction of the circular layer and the longitudinal layer this will help in the process of swallowing and process of swallowing of food, or what we call it the propels of food. About the GI tract wall structure, if we are coming to the GI tract wall structure, mostly all the wall of the alimentary tract or the GI tracts form from the esophagus, the large intestine, are made up of the same four basic tissues, four basic layers of tissues. So mostly the structure of those tubes, it is mostly similar. It is mostly from those four layers. There are differences in thickness according to the function of those tubes. So we'll find a difference sometime in the thickness of it. So if starting from the inner side, it will start with the mucosal layer. So mucosa is there, then submucosa, the submucosal layer, then the muscular layer, and serosa or serous membrane that hold the tube. So this is the serous membrane. Those are the muscular layer, and here the mucosa layer and submucosa. The mucosal layer, what's the function of the mucosal layer?
Transport.
Sorry?
Transport.
The mucosa. The mucosa.
Line. Line. Lubricant.
Lubrication. So it will help in lubrication. It will help in, I heard someone is saying a good function of it.
Protect.
Protection, yes. So protection of the structure of the digestive system from the reaction of the food itself, because we are taking sometimes either hot food or hot food in both way, either hot due to like pepper or spicy food, I mean, or hot food from the hotness, from the heat itself. So the mucosal layer, it will protect from the direct necrosis of the submucosa and the muscular layer from the hotness and from the chemical reaction of the food itself. We are taking sometimes acidic food or alkaline. Both are might be in the long run, if there is no mucosal layer, they will lead to some bad effect on the wall of the gastrointestinal tract. Because of that, sometimes we find somebody, they are complaining from gastric ulcer or duodenal ulcer due to those things if the mucus layer is affected. It is not only with the food, it is sometimes due to infection by bacteria, some type of bacteria that might lead to that. So, as we said, this is the lumen of the internal lumen that the food are passing through it, and then it is around that lumen there is the mucous layer, mucosa, which is epithelial, connective, and little smooth muscles are there. So this mucosal layer, it is epithelial and connective tissues, and little smooth muscles are there in this layer. Then in the submucosa, this is the submucosa, it is connective tissue, blood vessels are there also, nerves are there, and lymphatic vessels and lymph node are there in the submucosa. So in the mucosal layer, it is consists of epithelium, connective tissues, and little smooth muscles. In the submucosa, connective tissues is there, and it has the blood vessels. The blood vessels for both for absorption and also for the giving nutrition and oxygen to the tissues, because it is the gastrointestinal organs. They are from the organs that it need also nutrient by itself. It is not because we are beside the nutrient material that they can take it directly. It has to go through the blood, then it has with the oxygen the process of metabolism, and it is needed from nutrition and oxygen. It will be taken through the blood, and it is for absorption. The lymphatic vessel and lymph nodes also for filtration and for absorption. Then we have the muscular layer, which is the Muscularis Externa, which is we have circular layer and longitudinal layers. So two layers are there. This is the circular layer, and this is the longitudinal layers. Then the serosa, which is the visceral peritoneum. It is attached to the peritoneum. It is the visceral peritoneum, that the part of the peritoneum that is attached to the intestine. So those are the structure, starting from the beginning, from inside, the mucosa, then the submucosa, then muscular layer or musculosa, and then the serosa. See, the muscular layer or the muscular layer, it has also two layers of muscles. One is circular and the other is longitudinal. Those will make it more stronger, and also for the process of the concurrent contraction and relaxation, it will help in the process of passage of the food in its stages of digestion, from up until it go down to the for excretion. Then we have, we call it the mesenteric. The mesenteric, that it has the blood supply to the digestive system. It has the artery and the vein are coming, and the nerve also are coming through the mesenteric part. So the local variation of the structure, it depends upon the site. So it might be a thin layer of submucosa and of mucosa, submucosa, and muscular layer and serosa, which is coming in the upper part of the digestive system, in the esophagus, because it is just a pathway. There is no digestion is there. Or it is a very thick, strong muscular layer. See here the mucosal layer, how much is it? And how the structure of the mucosal layer is there. Then also the structure of the submucosa here in the stomach, it is also very thick. Also strong muscular layer and strong serosal layer in the stomach, because most of the mechanical and chemical digestion is happened inside the stomach and the small intestine, because in the stomach the higher acidity is there, if a small the mucosal layer is very thin mucosal layer, in this case, what will happen? The acidity, it will lead to passing through that mucosal layer, and it will reach to the submucosa, and in this case, it will the digestive system, it will start to digest itself. What is the difference between the meat that we are eating and the structure of our gastrointestinal tract? They are similar in the structure, isn't it? We are taking some muscles from those proteins that we are taking. And that muscles, it will be digested inside our stomach. So the stomach will digest them, but it will not digest itself because of the protection by the mucosal, that thick mucosal layer, and the mucus secretion which is there, that prevent the direct contact of the gastric secretion with that layer itself. So the mucosal excretion, which is excreted by the mucosal layer and submucosal, this will protect the organ from being digested by the digestive juices, by the HCl. And also it needs a strong muscle here. When we are coming down to the small intestines, see here also, because we are in need for absorption. So see how those are not coming very straight, in order to have more surface area, to widen the surface area. And that will help in the process of absorption. See the alteration in the muscular layer also. This will help also in the peristaltic movement and contraction. Then in the large intestine, there also a difference in the submucosa, and here mostly, as we said, it is created for mostly absorption of water rather than other substances. And the muscular layer, this is the subcutaneous, submucosa, and this is the muscular layer, and this is the serosa. So there are a difference in the structure and the thickness of the those layers. So if you are, yes, I am going to stop. So the esophagus here, which run from the pharynx through the thoracic cavity, diaphragm, and the stomach. So it is the pathway of food that's swallowed in order to go to the stomach. The length of it, it is around 25 centimeter in length. So we will stop now, and next session, inshallah, we will continue. Thank you. Any question?